Who in your life seems to live by a completely different set of rules? And what have you learned from them? My brother. He just never loses or fails. Times the outright wrong choice on purpose, because don't you want to know what will happen? And sure, things will look pretty grim for about 5 min. And then it all literally works out and he's on top. His smile is my second favorite in the world because it's so big and genuine. Hat comes his way, even if it's a mess he intentionally created out of sheer craziness. He always approaches it with this is gonna be one hell of a story attitude. And it's fascinating to watch. Causes me extreme anxiety though. I had a professor in college who would never stop before entering a crosswalk. He would just start walking across once he got there no matter how fast or heavy the traffic was. And I guess just assume that all the drivers would be paying attention and stop in time. It was terrifying to watch every time, especially in a college town with a lot of texting and driving. Thankfully he never got hit. What I learned, don't do that. My oldest brother. There is reactionary and then there's my brother. He is a survivalist and self-sufficiency devotee. He is quick to anger. He trusts nobody outside his circle and is openly hostile to strangers. He has limited capacity to admit when he is wrong and has an opinion, often uninformed, on everything. I have learned how not to live your life if you want to maintain close relationships with people you care about. My brother. This guy didn't even finish school and left home at 16 years old. He has been making money since he was 14 years old and was telling me that the school system is a manipulation and that he will prove everyone wrong. Now he is a successful businessman. He is helping the family with money even though my parents were always arguing with him since he was a kid and kept telling him that he will be a failure. My dad was always about 20 or 30 years ahead of his time. He was fired from being a social worker in Philadelphia in 1959 for requiring his clients to go to literacy classes if they were unemployed and could not read. I believe that is policy now. He also built an electric VW bug in 1977. I learned there is little advantage to being 20 or 30 years ahead of your time. Person in my life is my old pen pal friend who lives by his own set of rules of only one rule: don't give a fuck what people think of him just because he has autism. I learned from him that autism is just a neurological condition in which there are several different diagnoses of that one spectrum, and that not all autism is the same as another. Honestly, it's just me. I encounter so many people who don't challenge basic assumptions that so clearly hold them back. And I just figure, why not do my own thing? It's given me such an adventurous life, and I feel so rich, despite my modest income. My cousin's best friend is incredibly pretty, and knows it, and seems to live in this New York sitcom-style world even though she lives in Manchester. Gets invited to the best gigs, best parties and best cultural events. My husband is a mostly spontaneous person. He doesn't plan anything. He's self-employed so he can work when he wants. He lives in the moment. It can be annoying sometimes, but he's a good example and he gets a lot done. My oldest friend from first grade, we are the yin and yang of how to live life. Pretty much the opposite in every way, and both of us are just fine. Don't judge and just let people be. There is only right for you. Who in your life seems to live by a completely different set of rules? My boss. And what have you learned from them? That rich people have zero concept of accountability for their actions. Any friend of mine that is not participating in the rat race. The rat race to them is just a race to see who can die first but not live to tell anything about what they've achieved. My college GF, a pretty, rich, extroverted white girl, could have literally murdered dozens of people and would have been able to get all the charges dropped. Infuriating. My brother. He seems to live on another time zone than everyone else, but I've never seen him lose his cool or worrying about getting to places on time. Some of my friends in HS, they just had not strict parents and expressed themselves. I've learnt to ignore opinions and do what I want. People who have a significant amount of money, They don't have to flaunt it. People just know they have money and allow bullshit. I have an employee who never ever admits she's wrong. I've learned that there are just some people you can't reason with. Not in my life anymore. But my ex lived totally by her own rules. I learned that she was a cheating, lying cunt. My cats sleep all day, eat shit in a box. Doesn't seem glamorous, but it also doesn't seem stressful.